Okay, let's have a look at 10B. Constructing a network diagram given an activity chart. So the first thing here says a network diagram is often used for critical path analysis. It can represent the activities required to complete a project. So to complete a project, what was the important thing to make a project? The time and relation between each job, each step. Okay, so here time necessary to complete the job. Time necessary to complete the job, each activity, and the relation between each activity. So these are the two key points that you need to consider. In critical path analysis, a network diagram does not have labeled vertices, okay? Not necessarily to label the vertices, but we do sometimes. The activities in the project are represented by edges. So this is what we do, the edges. And so it is the edges that must be labeled. So we're not labeling like what we did in chapter 2, the point where we put the point that's A, that's B. No, that's the difference. So we label the edge. It tells us where's the activity. So where it's starting, where it's finishing. That's an important point, okay? So the activities in the project are represented by the edges of the diagram, and edges must be labeled, not the vertices, okay? So if we're looking at this chart here, at the table, what did that little dash mean before?
There was nothing before.
Nothing before that actual activity starting. So we're starting with A and B. There's nothing. Where are we finishing?
At G.
Finishing at F, E.
E. F.
Okay, so it's a little bit hard to find out here where we're finishing at G or which one.
F. G.
Okay. All right, let's start with the start point. So if I'm starting from A, before we used to start with A, we have an edge. So we're starting with A and B at this time. So what they're doing, they start with the start point and they're making A is the first, we're labeling, and B is the second part that we're starting from. So we're starting from A and B. All right, C is after A. So C is coming, has A as a predecessor for it, okay? So this is what happens. From A, you're going to C, all right? Now, how do we get to from C? C is a predecessor of what?
F.
F. Do you see why we go there to F? So we don't have to follow the table as the table is going A, B, C, D. We had A as a predecessor of C, then we wanted to see what comes after the edge C. So we look at the table and we look, there is C. So C is a predecessor of F. What else is a predecessor of F?
G.
D. Okay, let's find out before that. Is B a predecessor of anything else? Where is B?
D.
Right, B is a predecessor of D. So what do? I go to the edge B and I'll draw a D, okay? So this is what they're doing here. So after B, you gotta draw D. So, but the thing is, okay, you're saying, Miss, we draw B, why do we have to connect D this way? Why didn't we go the D this way? Why do you think I did not go D that way? Why did I put D this way?
Because they share.
Go back and look at the table. If you said
They share with the D.
is a predecessor of D.
D.
And
D is a predecessor of what?
F.
F. Do you see the connection?
Yep.
Yeah.
It's a little bit complicated, but you need to know the branching here. So we started with A and B, I repeat, okay? Then we looked at A and B, the ones we started. Then we looked at A is a predecessor of C. So we draw the edge C. After that, we looked at C, and we saw where is C is a predecessor of what? Of F. Now, we went back to B. B is a predecessor of D, all right? And D is a predecessor of F. So that gave us the clue here when we had to pull. So we had to pull from B, we connected D to F, okay? And as well C to F. Okay, where we up to now, we have B and D, E, F. Going back to the chart. What's left? We are crossing as
E
we're going along.
E and G.
So we need E and G, all right? Is there anything before E? E is a predecessor. What's the predecessor for E?
B.
B. So B is actually branching into E as well, all right? So go back to the chart where you're up to. So from B, you join to F by D, and you join again to through E
To G.
to F. And then again you will have G has the finishing point here. So G is a finish, the finish point. It's a bit complicated by the branches. Yesterday's one was easier to look at the chart. So this is the part that you will find difficult. How do you jump from one point to another? You need to follow up and find out what is the predecessor for that particular point. Okay? Is that clear? We can go through it again.